So if you've ever dreamt about building games, making the next big indie hit, or even just a cool little platformer, you
Hmm.
probably picture these giant studios.
Right, like hundreds of people, futuristic tech, maybe unlimited coffee, that whole fantasy.
Exactly. The flawless code just pouring out. But that's often, well, it's not the typical starting point, is it?
Not at all.
Hey.
That's kind of the glossy image. Today, we want to peel that back a bit. We're diving into some sources that really contrast that high-tech idea with the more common reality.
The secret life of the developer, especially when they're starting out.
Yeah, the secret life of the lone developer or the small team.
And that reality, for most people taking those first steps, it's way less glamorous. Forget the massive studio on day one.
Definitely. It's more likely you're sitting at your desk, maybe still in your pajamas.
Could be. With a probably cold cup of coffee.
Mm-hmm.
And you open up something like Unity or maybe Unreal Engine, and you're just staring at the screen. And what's there?
Nothing. A completely blank scene. Just
Yeah.
empty digital space.
That void.
That void is the real starting line.
Mm.
And look, this is what we want to give you, the listener, a shortcut to understanding. The magic isn't really in the super complex final thing.
Right.
It's hidden in those small, often frustrating moments behind the scenes. And honestly, accepting a bit of chaos is key to actually making anything.
Okay, let's jump right into that. That first moment, you've got the empty scene. What do?
Well, the instinct is usually to start simple. You drop in your first object.
And 9 times out of 10, it's just
Oh,
a
yeah.
cube, right? Yeah.
Plain white cube.
Yep. The default cube. It just sits there, static, kind of boring.
But then
Yeah.
something shifts.
Almost immediately. The second you write, like even a few lines of code, or maybe use some visual scripting
Mm-hmm.
to make that cube move, to respond to your keyboard, or jump, or even just spin
It
around.
stops being just geometry then.
Exactly. It becomes your first player character. It's subtle, but it's like a profound shift. You change right then
You go from being just a gamer, a consumer,
to suddenly realizing, hang on, I can make stuff happen here.
precisely. And the sources we looked at, they really hammered this home. The actual joy of development isn't about like amazing graphics right away or
Right.
tons of code.
Oh,
It's entirely in those small wins. Think about pressing play for the first time.
yeah.
And the script you just wrote,
Mm.
it actually works. The cube moves left when you press left. It doesn't crash. That little dopamine hit.
Oh, that's huge. Or adding a sound effect, even a simple one.
Yes. Like a little looping background hum
Mhm.
or footsteps when the cube moves. Suddenly that empty world, it feels kind of alive,
Yeah.
real.
It has weight. These tiny steps forward are what keep you hooked.
Absolutely. We saw this great story from one developer. They spent like a whole weekend just trying to get the cube to move left and right smoothly.
An entire weekend just for left and right.
Hours and hours of failing, tweaking, failing again. You'd think that would just kill your motivation, right?
Totally.
Yeah.
I'd probably give up.
But the sources say the opposite. The massive joy when it finally worked, that completely wiped out the memory of the struggle.
Mhm.
It's like tangible proof. You've tamed a tiny little piece of this digital world.
Okay, but that mastery, it leads us straight into the flip side.
Yeah.
Because the secret life isn't just those moments of joy, it's mostly struggle, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. Let's unpack the frustrations.
Yeah.
Because players, they see the finished thing. They have no idea about the chaos underneath.
They're totally insulated.
Completely.
Right.
The reality is, like, for every hour you spend adding a cool new feature,
Hmm.
you probably spend 3 hours just fighting the system.
Fighting the system.
Yeah, not like big philosophical problems. We're talking ridiculous bugs, pure absurdity.
Like what? Give us some classic examples, the stuff that plagues beginners.
Okay, well, physics engines are always fun. Always your enemy, really.
Uh-oh.
There's the classic unintended rapid ascent. Your character, for absolutely no discernible reason,
Yeah.
just decides to launch itself 5,000 feet into the sky.
Ooh.
Gone.
Huh. Okay, I can picture that.
Or the enemy AI. You spend ages setting up this cool patrol path or maybe some chase logic,
Yeah.
and the enemy just runs into a wall and gets stuck there, running in place
Yeah.
forever. Or maybe it just runs in endless perfect circles, doesn't even look at the player.
That sounds maddening. Because you think the logic is right.
You're sure it's right, but something tiny, invisible, is breaking everything.
And I think anyone who's ever, like, even dabbled in coding or scripting knows the ultimate pain. The final boss of frustration.
You mean the semicolon trap?
The semicolon trap.
The tiny, nearly invisible digital Lego brick you step on.
Exactly. You spend an hour, maybe longer, poring over your code. You're convinced the whole function is wrong, the logic's broken. Why won't the character jump?
Yep. You check the variables, the physics layers, the input settings. Everything seems fine.
And then you spot it, 15 files away. A single tiny semicolon missing from the end of a line.
That's the one. That one little piece of punctuation brought your entire game to a grinding halt.
It's brutal.
But what's really fascinating, and what defines this secret life, is that cycle. It's not smooth progress. It's like intense frustration, then careful, methodical problem solving.
Like being a detective.
Kind of. And then suddenly, that ridiculous burst of pure triumph when you find the tiny mistake and it all clicks. Fixing a bug doesn't feel like chores. It feels like you just performed actual magic.
Okay, but all that frustration, all those semicolons, doesn't that create like a huge barrier? Especially for beginners. I mean, historically, game dev felt like you needed a PhD.
It really did. You needed serious comp sci knowledge. You had to wrestle with complex libraries. It felt impenetrable for a long time.
Yeah.
But that's where the conversation has to shift now.
Yeah.
Because of the democratization of development, that barrier, it's largely collapsed.
How so? Like specifically, if I'm listening and I've never written a line of code, why is it different now?
Because the tools themselves have changed so fundamentally.
Yeah.
Especially things like Unity, which the sources really highlight.
Yeah.
You don't need to start with hardcore C++ anymore. Modern engines offer things like visual scripting. Think of it like digital Lego blocks. You connect nodes visually. If this happens, then do that without typing traditional code.
So you can see results much faster, without weeks of theory first.
Way faster. You get that feedback loop going immediately. And beyond that, there's the whole ecosystem of asset stores.
Right, where you can get pre-made stuff.
Exactly. You don't have to be a master 3D artist or a sound designer from day one. You can grab high-quality models, sounds, even complex gameplay systems, and just drop them into your project.
So you can focus more on the design part, putting the pieces together.
Precisely. You're empowered to iterate on the gameplay on the feel, not just get bogged down in the technical weeds constantly.
So for a beginner, the goal shouldn't be like making the next AAA blockbuster right away. That's the old fantasy.
Right.
The goal in this new reality is really just getting those first few wins under your belt.
Absolutely. That is the shortcut we were talking about. Good learning, especially now, shouldn't start by throwing like complex calculus or physics formulas at you.
Please no.
Haha, right. It should guide you straight to those initial successes. Get the cube moving, make it jump. Add a simple enemy that maybe just walks back and forth.
Build a tiny, complete game, like a basic platformer.
Exactly. A super simple shooter even. Finishing something small, end to end.
That focused approach,
Yeah.
it must speed things up massively.
It does. Because instead of hitting wall after wall and just getting discouraged,
Yeah.
you start getting tangible results. You turn that love of playing games into the actual measurable joy of making them. That shift from consumer to creator happens way quicker when you're building stuff you can actually finish and, show someone.
You get that sense of agency faster. The engine isn't some scary black box anymore.
It's a tool.
Yeah.
Your tool.
Okay, now this is where I think it gets really interesting. The kind of permanent change this causes. What happens after you've built that first simple game? Even if it's just cubes, how does it change you?
Oh, it's irreversible. Once you've wrestled with wonky physics and hunted down missing semicolons and finally made a character move the way you want, you gain this deep, fundamental appreciation for all games.
It can't go back.
You can't go back to just passively playing. Your eyes are open.
You start noticing things, right? Things the average player just takes for granted.
Totally. Give us some examples. What does that new developer suddenly see when they play a polished professional game?
Well, you see the tricks, the illusion. You notice where they place that health pack isn't random.
Right. It's deliberately put there to maybe lure you into a slightly riskier area.
Or you notice the tiny camera shake when the character lands a jump, just to give it that feeling of weight.
Yes. Or the slight pause, the tell, before a big enemy attack, giving you that split second to react to something you might not even consciously register as a player.
You realize the whole thing is just meticulously engineered. The lighting guiding your eye, the timing of obstacles, not just that they're there, but why they're timed that specific way.
It creates a rhythm, a flow.
Yeah.
It's like someone handed you the blueprints after you've tried building a wobbly shed yourself. You see the scaffolding.
You're in the club now. You see the compromises, the smart shortcuts, the sheer craft behind even simple-looking games.
Exactly. And so what does all this boil down to when you put it all together? The real secret, the core of the developer's life,
Mm.
it's that it's about creation. It's about iteration. It's not really about perfection, especially at first.
It's about the process.
It is.
Hmm.
Which leads to the simplest advice, really.
Yeah,
Stop waiting to be perfect or to know everything.
just try it.
Yeah. Start small, start messy, start with that cube.
That really sums it up, doesn't it? The secret life is experimenting, failing constantly, fixing things, breaking them again,
Mm.
and just watching these little ideas slowly, painfully sometimes come to life on the screen.
It's that whole journey. And the final bit of encouragement, that came through really strongly from the sources,
Yeah.
is remembering that every single pro developer out there, the ones making the games you love, whether they're tiny indie hits or huge AAA blockbusters,
Every single one.
every single one started exactly where you might be right now, with basically nothing but a love for games and maybe just enough courage to open that blank scene and actually start building something.
That's a powerful thought. They all started with the cube.
They all started with the cube or the equivalent,
Mm-hmm.
which kind of leaves us with one last thing for you, the listener, to think about.
Okay.
Knowing that every polished game you play, every complex world you explore, probably started with forgotten semicolons, characters flying into the sky, and just months of sheer necessary frustration. How much of that initial messiness, that
Mhm.
failure, are you willing to embrace in your own creative work?
Mm.
Because accepting that ugly start, that willingness to just dive in and make mistakes, that seems to be the real secret to actually finishing something amazing.